I'm not telling anyone else to mind their own business. You do you, but I'm just out here gonna mind my own business and just do my thing and just exist as me and not worry about how someone else is taking it. And if we all live in that way, we can create something very beautiful. Anyway. Wow, it's been a long time. Remember me. I'm gonna take a bite of my food because I haven't eaten yet, but I know that I need to eat, but I'm also so pumped to film this video. So just one second. I almost forgot to say gratitude for this. Okay. Yo, this is so good. Peppers. Broccoli. Sunshine. This is so good. Oh, so grateful. Okay. After this, I'm gonna talk to you. Double check I haven't got shit in my teeth. The time is right now to be doing this. So, where have you been, Navneet? Where have you been? You said that you were gonna do a video a week, and you said you were gonna show me your morning routine. I did what I said I was going to do in that video that I was telling you guys to do, to make a plan. Make a list to see what you need to be prioritizing, what you have time for, what you don't have time for. I did that. And at that moment in time, I didn't have the space to create more YouTube videos. At this moment in time, I don't know how many weeks it's been, but I needed the break. And I'm not someone who has like loads of people like being like, where are your videos, you said? But I'm still committing to something and I didn't show up for it, but I have good reason. So I sat down to look at the things that I wanted to prioritize, and I found that YouTube at that moment in time wasn't on the list for so many reasons. So let me take you back to when I first started the YouTube channel. I think in the first video I talk about how I've been wanting to do this for 10 years. Procrastinator. 10 years I have been wanting to do this, and I will record. And I was going through one of my dark nights of the soul. I don't know if it's like known that people have more than one, but that was probably my third or some shit like that. And once I was coming out of it and I was finding these tools, I was coming up and out. When I made that first video, I wasn't out. I was not out. I was coming up, and I wanted to take you guys with me. And I think that made for really authentic content of me being like, this is where I'm at. Come with me on the journey, grow with me. Let's, see what we can create of our lives together using these tools that I've been learning. And once I sat down after this last video and was like, okay, I need to figure out where my priorities are lying, what I want to prioritize, I realized that creating the YouTube videos was stressing me out. And it meant that I wasn't prioritizing my self-care routine. It meant that I wasn't doing essentially the things that I'm talking about and telling you guys, incorporate this in your routine. And I was just like, okay, this needs to stop right now because what was happening was I had learned all of these things, but I needed the time to integrate, and I didn't give myself the time to integrate. And so that is why I haven't created a video for a while. And let's talk about the fact that I was gonna make a morning routine video. Morning routines are so important. I will share with you my morning routine in another video, but it's not going to be in the format of my morning routine, no, because I don't actually vibe with that. And I think, you know, I'd filmed it already weeks before I'd actually uploaded that video, and something was just holding me back. And I guess in a way I didn't want my content to go in that direction, as amazing as and as important as it is when people create those videos and share them. I've watched them and it's really important. It's not the vibe that I want to create here. So I think I was just like not running out of ideas at all. I have so many ideas, but I thought that this is the direction people would take it and this should be the next thing that I do. But it just didn't feel right for me. So I won't be uploading a video of me brushing my teeth, but I will talk about the fact that I do brush my teeth. Ding. And if you guys have seen my Madrid vlog video, you will know that I was talking a lot about my love for music and wanting to dive into that. And so that's what I've been doing during this time. And that's what that plan that I wrote out was. I needed a moment to integrate all the things that I've learned and also prioritize the things that I have been wanting to do for so long. And I think what's amazing for me is that I had bit the bullet and started this channel, which was so important to me. And once I got that ball rolling, I think I just then needed to be like, okay, just you project, just sit here for 1 second, I'll come back to you, but I just need to just do this for a few moments and like get the ball rolling on this. And so that's what I've been doing. And I picked up my guitar, I started getting drum lessons, I started singing more, I started writing more, my creativity was flowing, and that is literally what I have been spending the past couple of months doing. And also just spending time, as I said, incorporating all the lessons that I've learned about self-actualization, putting it into practice, spending time with my family, spending time with my friends, spending time with myself. So that's that part of things. I also had a moment of time just there where I lost myself to the mind, and it took control of me, and I wasn't good. I started living in other people's minds. I had a situation with a friend that really, when I say knocked me for six, like I have not experienced something like that with regards to a friend maybe since I was a kid, and I went through kind of feeling, I guess, betrayed by friends at times, and so would keep friends at arm's length, and I haven't had that in a really long time. So this situation, it wasn't a betrayal or anything at all, but this situation just essentially it triggered me, and I didn't realize that it triggered me until my best friend used the word trigger. I don't use that word. I feel that people overuse it now, but what happened was a triggering, and it took me to a dark place of just living in people's minds, thinking that what do people think of me? I think I'm acting one way, and other people are perceiving it in a different way. I went through this whole ass thing, and it took me to a bad place. And there's a book that has been on my list for a really, really long time. And it's called The Courage to Be Disliked. I don't have it here right now because now my best friend is reading it. But this book was calling to me for a really long time. And one of my other friends has a book club. And she told me the book that they'd started reading. This was as I was thinking of the book, and I had mentioned to my other friend, I want to get this book. Maybe we should read it together. And then a couple of days later, my friend tells me that she's reading it in her book club. And I was just like, do you know what? I think it's time for me to get the book. It's calling out to me. And so during this time, I read the book, The Courage to Be Disliked. It was a challenging read because it kind of goes against your, or on the forefront seems to go against your mainstream psychology with regards to trauma, self-worth, self-image, that kind of thing. And I had never read a book of that length in that amount of time. I think it took me it was still, people would be like, I'll read a book like that in one day. But it took me like a week and a half to read it. And it really, really, really helped me so much to move out of people's minds, move into my mind and my being and be who I need to be for myself. He talks about this thing called the separation of the tasks. This means you do you, and how someone else takes that, how someone else perceives that, that is their task. But what I was doing was sitting there, being me, doing me, and then also taking over their task of perceiving. How are they perceiving it? I was living in my mind. It was a bad, bad, bad place. I'm not gonna lie. After flying through that book, I just felt like, okay, it's time to integrate this. It's time to step into existing as me, thinking as me, not living in people's minds and spaces. And that's it. I just realized I'm not telling anyone else to mind their own business. You do you, but I'm just out here gonna mind my own business and just do my thing and just exist as me and not worry about how someone else is taking it. I know I'm showing up as my best and doing my best every step of the way, and to me that's all that matters. And if we all live in that way, we can create something very beautiful. Anyway, so that's that. And then I found myself just gonna take a bite of my dal. Mashallah. And then this book is a psychology book, but it's written in the way that a dialogue between philosopher and youth, which I really loved. I love reading about science and psychology and spirituality. Those are my jams. So then after this book, I jumped onto this big ass philosophy book that I've had for years that has been at my mum's, and I started reading it. It's a huge one. It's one of those, this particular type of book has loads of different subjects that it covers. So it's like, this one is the philosophy book, you've got the physics book or the sociology book, that kind of thing. And it just puts it all down into bite-sized pieces for you to just pick up and read whenever. But I was just like, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna read this shit. Yeah, my life depends on it. And I started reading it and I was just like, oh, this is really interesting, this is really good, blah blah. And then I was just like, I was just getting anxiety, and I was like, you know what, I need to take a moment. And then I jumped onto Spotify to listen to a podcast, And I listened to Sahara Rose. I think I've mentioned her in one of my... No, I didn't. It was a morning routine video which I didn't upload. Okay, so I didn't mention her. Sahara Rose, she's just this badass that just is such an inspiration because she is just living in her truth. She has a podcast and she's also an author. She's just everything amazing you can think of. I'm going to put her website down below so you can just see what kind of stuff she does. I listened to this podcast of hers with Hellé Weston. I don't know Hellé Weston, but I know of Hellé Weston through Raya Was Here. If you watch her stuff on YouTube, she was her housemate at one point. She and her partner are breathwork facilitators, and I've been learning about breathwork for a couple of years now, on and off. It was about a year and a half ago that I started integrating it into my daily practice, and it was powerful. It was really, really powerful. I was just like, I feel like I just took something, drugs. That's how it felt. And I was in a relationship at that time where I felt like I couldn't really embody that whole part of myself and like just live in my spirit practices in that way. So it fell off as one of the things that I would do. And then after listening to this podcast, I was like, damn, why did I stop? She talks about the power of breath work and how it helps you work through your traumas without really talking about it because you're breathing through it. And she makes a point and she says, why is it that we can also breathe through our mouths? There must be a reason for that, because a lot of breath work is done through like really conscious breath through the mouth. And so we do this practice together in the podcast. And then what was really intriguing to me is that in this episode she channels these galactic beings, I guess you could call them, called the Arcturians. I'd never heard anything like it, but I was just like, yo, I have been needing this energy in my life for a while and I've been missing it. Take me back to the spirit world. Like, I need the magic. I've been missing it so much. And so she starts talking about the Arcturians and she starts discussing how she went into this meditation with no intention of channeling and then begins to channel. And that's why it was intriguing to me as well, because in the name of the podcast, in the title, she says channels a message from the Arcturians. When I've been writing my music recently, it has been a legitimate channel because I don't know where this shit has come from. I'm just writing and writing. I think of something and I would write and it would just come out, all coming out. And then I look back and I'm just like, whoa. And then when I read it back, even now, like 3 weeks to a month later, I'm reading this shit that I've written and I'm like, I did not write that. So that's what drew me in even more with this. And because I know of this person, Hellé Weston, I know of breathwork, I'm intrigued by it. These are two women that I really look up to that are having a conversation with one another. And she's talking about galactic beings and channeling them. I was just like, I'm here for it so much. And then she channels the message, and I'm gonna link the YouTube video down below, and I'll put the time stamp of where she starts channeling as well, just so if you want you can skip to that bit as well. But it was so powerful because it is where I was. This message that she's saying that they're bringing to us is about letting go and surrendering and having the faith that you know what you're doing, your higher self knows. And that is where I was at after I went through this breakup. Before I made this video, the first video about authenticity, I had just went through a really tough breakup, and I was literally like so here nor there. I didn't know where I needed to be in the world. I was like, I can't live this life anymore, and I was ready to leave the country and just start anew somewhere else, but nothing was working out. And I was just like, because everything I was doing was being met with resistance, and I felt that if I don't do this, nothing's gonna change for me. Whereas in reality, I needed to stop, because after I stopped, after I dropped my shoulders and was just like, okay, I'm just gonna be here right now and see what happens. Everything changed. Everything shifted. Literally, I think I've spoke about this exact thing before, but the path of least resistance. I think it's Deepak Chopra that talks about this. I need to revisit this book. It's so beautiful. You are what your deep, driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. Brihadaran Yaka Upanishad. I need to learn more about the Upanishads. I hear that shit. Or is it Four Agreements by Don Miguel? Don't take anything personally. Okay, well, one of these two books talks about it. Also a gorgeous book. I think I recommend it in one of my other videos. It's lovely. I love these size books. The Path of Least Resistance. Some things that you need to do in life to be living in your highest self will be challenging. However, there is a difference between the challenge and the straight up universe saying, sit the fuck down, this is not for you. And then when you push and you go through, it's just more challenge after challenge after challenge. It's not the right way. And I can say that having experienced both pushing through challenges that I know that I needed to do, because it's like the universe being like, are you ready for this? And then pushing through challenges that are not challenges, they're actually the universe being like, the road ends here for you now with this situation, stop. But if you keep trying to push that, like, you will cause yourself so much distress and you will move so much further off your path that you will literally live in misery. So, ooh. Oh, how the temperature has changed. So that's that. That's the recent. And listening to this podcast, listening to Hellé channel the Arcturians, I was like, do you know, why have I been diving into now? I needed it. I needed to read these books on the mind and in the 3D realm, and you know, I go to therapy, you know, I have a therapist, and I think it's so important. I have been through stages where I've lived so heavily in the dense physical 3D world that it's just been so unhealthy for me. And I've also lived in the 5D too much, where I've just been like, quit my job, had no money, sleeping on airport grounds, sleeping in my friend's bed, sleeping on a mattress in my friend's room. And these past few years have me being like, toying between, okay, how do I find this balance between the two? How do I find the balance? How do I enter the 4D realm so I'm in the 3D? Because I'm here as a human form. I need to have my human experience, but I also have a higher awareness for whatever reason, and I need to bring that down and combine the two and live in that way. So after this podcast, I put down the philosophy book and I was just like, I will rest my plant on you for now. And then I was just like, okay, Sahara, I have been saying, like, I've been wanting to get her cookbook, which she has, Ayurveda cookbook, which I will get. But I was like, okay, I think it's time. I just love reading. Like, this is how I educate myself, is through reading and listening to podcasts and watching videos. But at any given time, I need to have that a book that I'm kind of working through and learning from. And then I went in, and so I purchased a book, and the book is Discover Your Dharma by Sahara Rose. What a queenie. Seriously, look at that. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. Your Dharma is your purpose. It's your path. It's what you came here to do. But we also have free will, and that is why we experience the challenges in our life. If we're born and we know what our Dharma is, and we're just like, I'm gonna go for it, your path will tend to be quite blissful, or you'll encounter a challenge or two, but mostly the challenges come when we aren't born coming into this world being like, this is it, this is my thing, I'm gonna do this and whatever. So we go through the challenge of finding it, like so many of us. Tell me you have not asked yourself the question, what am I doing here? Or you feel like you have a higher purpose and you're like, what is it? I know that ever since that moment of surrendering I'm gonna say August last year, the breakup happened in like April, and so there were these months of me just being like, what am I doing? I was like manifesting all these things, just living in my like space, and then was like dark night of the soul, and then I did the surrender, and then ever since then things have it's literally been like, I'm gonna go this way, I'm gonna go this way, I'm gonna go this way. And then the past few weeks has been like, oh, I know I had a lesson to learn in this thing that happened with my friend. A big lesson was that, you know, I started fearing relationships and being in a relationship. Just on a side note, but the lesson that I learned was, it doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship, these things can happen in your friendships too. So don't push that shit away, because, and in The Courage to Be Disliked, the main thing that he talks about is all problems are interpersonal relationship problems. I have always agreed with that, because we cannot exist unless we are in relation to something else and someone else in that way. So anyway, that was that. I am just being continually put on the path, led on the path. This thing that happened with my friend, this resistance was needed. Oh my lord, it was so needed. And now I'm brought back into the present moment, reconnecting with my spirituality, being 100% okay with expressing that, and just living in my truth again and again. This book is so beautiful, and it has kind of journal prompts and stuff like that, so you can work along with it. And so today we've been talking for 34 minutes. I'm not even sure I took a breath here. Let's take some food. The way the weather outside has changed is so funny. Hilarious. So today, and the past couple of days in fact, I felt like ready to rejoin YouTube and be like, okay, I still got something to give. Like, I really thought that that was going to be the end for a moment there. But there was something still just being like, just chill. I was going to make a video maybe 3 weeks ago, I think, to say, I need time to integrate, this is what I'm doing. Basically what I say to you at the beginning of the video. But it just was still like not the right time to rejoin. And so now, I'm gonna put my jumper on. Ooh! And so now, the past couple of nights after reading this book and just remembering like, I have something to share. I know that I started the YouTube journey for a reason. I'm really into my music right now. It's flowing, it's coming. I needed to give that a kickstart. And now, today, I was like, okay, I have a day off, let's film something. But I was kind of putting it off, and I do this thing on filming day where I'm just like, okay, it's my day off. I need to get some fresh air, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go for a walk, and then I'm gonna come back and start filming. And so I was like, I'm gonna listen to a podcast, let's go on Higher Self, let's see what she's saying. And then I find this podcast. My phone, I'm filming on my phone, so I can't find it, but I'll link it below. And it's about, well, she's talking to a guy called Aaron something, I can't remember in this moment, and he is a YouTuber. And this episode is on how he took his idea and turned it into a thing, his life. You know, he had an idea to start a YouTube channel, and then it took off eventually. But the podcast was an hour long, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and listen to this. I was just like, universe, give me what I need to, I just know that you're gonna give me what I need, basically. And so I started walking down the street listening to this podcast, and I was like, god damn, like already I just want to get back home and start filming. But I was like, okay, just listen to the full episode, go get your matcha, go for a walk, and get back in it. So that's exactly what I did. I was like, how I was about to click on a different episode, and I went to, like, you know, when you like scroll up on your screen to get all the things where you change your brightness. I did that, and it scrolled down, and I lost the episode, and then I saw this one, and I was just like, well, how the universe works. And so here we are at present moment. This guy was filming a YouTube video a day. I can't, because already I've been speaking for 40 minutes. I have a lot of stuff to say. But the point is making space for it, and then putting the work in. And that's just the chapter that I've finished as well, being like, if you have an idea, if you feel like there's this thing that gets you lit up, if you're in flow state, if you're in kriya, you forget about time. And I forgot about time. Look at this, I'm like at 39 minutes, man. And that is your Dharma. That is where your magic lies, is when you're doing something and you just feel like it's just flowing, but you just need to make sure you're giving it the right time to like blossom. I'm not sure about the one video a week thing. I think I have so much to talk about. I'm gonna sit down again and revise this plan after going through this month or so of integration, which has been so healing. I have so much coming up in my life that I want to share with you, and I know that it's funny because I'm like, I want to share this with you. I know that the things I'm also going to be sharing are the challenges that I'm experiencing, because that is life. So I can't believe I've basically just spoke for 40 minutes straight. I'm just having another broccoli. Oh, it's going down into my belly. I now would like to say thank you so much for being here with me on this journey. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel and spent the time watching these videos. And I really hope so deep in my soul that you have gained something from these videos that has helped you lose a bit of your fear, take the step that you needed to take, feel like you're not alone. If this has brought you anything, I am so glad. I'm so glad. So thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you, and as the sun comes out, I will take that and I will pass it straight back to you. I'm sending you so much love, and just remember, I was gonna cry, and just remember that you are gonna be okay. Step into your power. Listen to what your soul is telling you. Don't doubt it. I love you all. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.